Hey, welcome to Sports and Politics with T. I'm your host, Tanya, and tonight we have made it back to Thursday, guys. Listen, I hope everybody has had a great week. Tomorrow is Friday, and guess what? We only have about 4 more days left in June, which I think Tuesday will be July the 1st. And guess what, guys? We are going to bring in the 4th of July, which is next Friday. We're going to have a special celebration right here on this channel for all my subscribers. So I definitely encourage everyone to come back on next week. We are going to do Monday at 8 p.m. We're also going to do our Thursday show like normal. But Friday also we're going to do something even more special. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's going to be a surprise. So I want y'all to tune in. Put that calendar bell on so you won't miss this show. Now, tonight, we're going to start tackling some things about racism. And you know what? Racism is still here, guys. I know a lot of people think that, racism is gone and it's not relevant anymore. And why do people keep talking about it? Well, people keep talking about it because it keeps happening. And guess what? As long as there's different cultures and there's different religions and there's different people of all walks of life, you're going to have people that just don't like you because of the way you look. Okay? Now, tonight, we're going to look at CNN. CNN is going to do a little segment about how the Maga, or Make America Great Again people, you're going to see how even when they get exposed, they still will hang on to that party no matter what. Even when they get called out on the racism, even when they get called out on the bigotry, they still want to hang on to that for some reason. Also, we're going to take a look at Dollar General tonight. People say, well, why do you want to talk about Dollar General? Dollar General has actually been added to the list with Target and Walmart as far as some DEI practices that they've been exposed. Okay, so yes, we're definitely going to take a look at them to see what's going on with them. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to let you know how I feel about this video once it's over. And we'll break this video down once it's complete and let you know my 2 cents about how the MAGA feel about Donald Trump.
Senator Padilla, Jose Padilla, intentionally. You saw President Trump has previously asked Asian staffers, where are you really from? Matt Walsh, another proxy for President Trump, made an implication that because a significant percentage of people in New York are foreign-born, that it's not an American city anymore. This is an administration that has vilified the word diversity. So for some reason, this administration has forgotten that the bedrock of our society is immigration and new Americans. It's not just multi-general Americans. It's everybody coming together to make the diversity of our country special. And this dog whistle and this signaling is candidly disgusting and has no place in America.
Mamdani was on MSNBC tonight, and he actually responded to some of this. Listen.
It's sad in that in one sense it's unsurprising, and in another it is still deeply disappointing to see what politics has become in this moment. To have to deal with regular death threats where I'm told that someone is going to blow up my car and is going to kill me and my family and the people that I love.
I mean, frankly, it's like, okay, you disagree with his policies, Why is it that the number one line of attack against him on the right is that he's Muslim?
I don't know if that is the number one attack, Abby. I mean, I think in our conversation tonight, we've been focused pretty much on the policy.
I mean, you have. I'm not talking about you. Look, you're invited to this table. I'm talking about the people who, as we just showed, that is what they say. He's a Muslim. He's an immigrant. This is what makes him unacceptable.
I'm not going to sit here and condone it, Abby. I think the reality, though, is...
You condemn it?
Yeah, sure. But I think there's performative artists on both sides, in both sides of politics today. And as intolerable as some of the rhetoric is, the reality is that the last 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump were from leftists. Assassination attempt on Brett Kavanaugh was from leftists. So
that's not true. That's not true. In fact, the one that was at the Pennsylvania, he was a registered Republican. So I don't know, again, where that came from. But anyway, let's keep going.
We condemn the rhetoric on the right, but it seems like it's always focused on the right. and actually not focus on the actions on the left.
Yo, 2 elected officials in Minnesota were killed. They were Democrats. That wasn't an assassination
and I
attempt.
think
They
they
were killed.
were killed. And
Hold on, let me
still a
finish.
question about the motive of the person who did it.
These were 2 Democratic elected officials in Minnesota who were killed. The Tree of Life synagogue shooting, killed. Christchurch, New Zealand, slaughtered. AME Church in South Carolina. On and on and on.
Catholic-
this is America.
Catholic
and the
pro-life
problem
ministries
is we
bombed.
are not dealing
Catholic
with
pro-life ministries
America's
bombed. You're
original
right.
sin and its disease of hate and racism towards black and brown people and sexism towards women and anti-LGBTQ sentiment. We are not dealing with that. Your colleagues in the Republican Party do not hold each other accountable when it comes to the racism that comes from the party on a consistent basis.
Congressman, I mean, where are you on
You
the where are
can't
the
be
assassination
calm about
attempts?
this. I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart
I'm
disease.
white, I can't comment on
Listen
that.
to what I'm saying.
Know what
The
you're
reason
saying.
why heart disease and cancer
You say
and
that.
obesity
I can't
and
comment on that.
diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day. If your colleagues would listen and try to learn and engage and grow and stop being so hateful, we could have a better country.
Jamal.
But unfortunately, we're still here.
Jamal.
The hate's coming from one side.
Jamal, I before I let this idiot Latino Vince McMahon talk, this is what they always do when these conversations come up. They try to play the victim. Oh, because I'm white, I can't talk about it. That's not what he's saying. He was giving you a perspective as a black man, and you know that. And this is why I call for black, brown, mainly it's brown, whether Hispanic and Arab people, to stand by the side with black people. I include Jewish people in there too. They hate them for a completely different reason, for these stupid conspiracy theories. But for black and brown people, for these Republicans, it's that simple. Black and brown is bad, white equals good to them. Laura Loomer says there will be another 9/11 because of Mamdani winning. The same person that called Kamala Harris, along with other black women, DEI Shaniquas. Like, these people are, this is what...
Called the vice president, Kamala Harris, a DEI Shaniqua. The vice president of the United States. You see what I'm saying? So, and see, that lets me know, and I have to chime in for just a second. You see, even with the highest office or the second highest office, you can be the president and vice president. Even at the second highest level, you still get disrespected. Even when Obama was president, they didn't think he was from the United States. They wanted to see his birth certificate. They wanted to see all this stuff to have, he has to prove himself, you know, where everybody else don't have to, you know. So it just lets you know, no matter how high, in fact, typically the higher you go, the worse it gets. I mean, I hate to say that, but the higher you go, the more you really got to fight because you're on a different level, number one. And the people typically are, the more you go, the less black people you see, the higher you get. So it's like, anyway, let's keep going.
Who they are. Charlie Kirk, same guy who said he wouldn't trust a plane being piloted by a black person because they couldn't really be qualified, right? Because the DEI, Ben Shapiro just a couple months ago talked about pardoning Derek Chauvin, the murderer of George Floyd. This is what Republicans do. It's their go-to move. Sorry. It's because, again, for the 100th time, they know the Republicans voter very well. They are essentially feeding them the food they like to eat. And it's called racism or bigotry. They wouldn't do it. These pundits wouldn't talk like that, these politicians, if they didn't think it was popular amongst their viewers or voters. It's that simple. It's not that hard to figure out what's going on here. Those of us on the left, we throw out things like taxing the rich, universal health care, child tax credit, things along those lines. This party throws things out like Haitians are eating cats and dogs. Jews will not replace us. Jewish space lasers. Immigrants are poisoning the blood of the nations. Mexicans are rapists and murderers. Calling black people DEI hires every chance they can get. And that all illegal immigrant jobs, my favorite one, are actually supposed to be black jobs. Mm-hmm. These people are disgusting. Calling Hispanics violent gangbangers. Calling Arabs terrorists, and so on and so on. This is who they are.
Feel your passion, and I understand where you're coming from. Sincerely, I really, really do. It happens on both sides, Jamal. You might think it happens more on your side, Jamal. When I leave the show, Jamal, you should see my Twitter feed.
And they're acquitted. Rodney King, Abner Louima, Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, black cops in Memphis. It's not the same. And I don't want to qualify or quantify pain. That's not what I'm talking about.
Connectivity through spectrum is vital, provides us with reliability.
Everyone goes through pain. But the racism in this country is a disease that will destroy us. And it's destroying us right now as we speak. January 6th, everybody was pardoned. Everybody's pardoned. Riots in LA, they're insurrectionists. But we pardoned everyone January 6th.
So, Congressman,
This
I was
is
there
America.
January 6th. I was evacuated January 6th. That was not a racist incident. I don't know why you're making that
My man was
connection.
walking through the Capitol with a
I was
Confederate
there.
flag.
I was evacuated, Congressman.
What does the Confederate flag represent?
Come on, Congressman.
I'm asking you a question.
This was about a riot in the Capitol.
When you erect a wooden cross in American history, what does that mean? Google black lynchings in the South and watch the images that come up with black people hanging from trees and white people looking and eating sandwiches. This is America. We can deal with it or not. Why are you in denial?
Stop it. I'm not saying.
Let me let Mark respond.
Actually fought among itself to free slaves.
So, but what are you suggesting, Mark? Listen, I don't think it's helpful to be in a sort of pain Olympics around this stuff, right? However, I think it is both true that there is a lot of racist violence in this country today, political violence in this country today. The political violence does sometimes target people on the left, sometimes it targets people on the right. But I don't think it's helpful to sit here and be like, well, it's more on the left, because I actually don't even think that that's true. I think we've seen plenty of examples of political violence coming from the right, and I think acknowledging that is part of what the conversation is about.
I did not acknowledge that. I've condemned it as well. My point is that it seems like we can constantly focus on the rhetoric on the right when there have been significant actions of assassination attempts against Republican
I heard you say that,
but
I think his point was, you're saying that it's about rhetoric on the right. He is saying that there has actually been violence on the right, and you cannot minimize it to just rhetoric when we've seen the violence. That's the point that he's trying to make.
We need to hold elected officials.
And they just don't have real arguments that there's racism on the left. What? Protesting on campus that you don't want Palestinian children to be slaughtered, Palestinian people to be genocide? That's anti-Semitic. That's their example of racism. This is their both sides.
Officials and people in public office to a different standard, right? They have a bigger bully pulpit. And what we see, for example, let's talk about what's happening with ICE right now. All over the country, a lot of it in LA. There's hundreds of thousands, over 1 million white people who've overstayed their visa and are here undocumented. But I don't see ICE going to where the Russians are in North Miami Beach. I see them going to the Home Depots. I see them going to the farms. I see them going to the places where hardworking Latino, brown immigrants are that they can easily spot. I see them stopping Latino U.S. citizens because they think they might be undocumented. I see them stopping and detaining Latino legal permanent residents because they think that they might be undocumented. I see them beating the head of the father of 3 U.S. Marines on the ground repeatedly as they detain him, a Latino man. And so that is racism. What's happening right now by the administration is racial profiling against the Latino community. We are being hunted down in the streets.
A huge number of ICE.
And that's true. Like I said before, about a few weeks ago, ICE is going in if you look like you're not from here. If you are Mexican, Hispanic, don't matter, just brown, okay? They're going in, you look suspicious, they're pulling people out of the line and sending them back or deporting them. This is a prime example. And do you see how even when they're confronted, they still can't grasp the whole concept? It's not so much they can't grasp it, they just don't want to grasp it. This is really what this boils down to. So, but anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and switch gears for a second because we want to talk about Target and its DEI situation. We're gonna listen in on Jamal Bryant, who's a pastor. He's gonna let you know why Dollar General is falling into this trap and why Target is still not where it needs to be as far as putting everything back for the Black community.
They could shop, spend, and invest in their own local communities. About a month into our fast, I was able to sit at a table with the CEO of Target, one of their board members, and one of their strategic consequential staff. We agreed at one of those four things. That was the honoring of a commitment they made of $2 billion after the death of George Floyd for entrepreneurs. They agreed to that. 3 days later, the president and CEO of Target was summoned to the White House. And that, my friends, is where conversation stopped. Negotiations came to a standstill. And from that day to this one that I am speaking to you, we've not heard from Target. 56 churches on the 5th anniversary of George Floyd's murder went outside of Targets across the country for 9 minutes and 20 seconds for nonviolent prayer and righteous indignation. 13 weeks we stayed out of Target. And in those 13 weeks, history was made because I want you to know the valuation dropped by $12 billion. Because of our committed, organized, unified efforts, the stock went down from $145 a share to $93 a share. Because we held on to the line, you should know that the CEO's salary was slashed by 43%. Please don't listen to those who are in the cheap seats. You made a difference. Foot traffic at Target nationally dropped by 9.7% and online orders at the exact same route. You did it. Pat yourself on the back. Pull confetti out of your pocket. You are a history maker, a world changer, and you are defying what is happening in a fascist society. I'm excited because we are not stopping. We're going forward. And so with all of the companies that were in front of us, people were asking, why did you just pick one institution? The African proverb came to mind. In order to eat an elephant, you can only do it one bite at a time. In choosing singular focus, we saw maximum results. And so we have hereby officially canceled Target. So many times we have canceled individuals, celebrities, and athletes, and actors, and entertainers. But now we're canceling a company. Target, we're finished with you. You are not invited to the cookout. We're on to the next one while we're staying steadfast that we still ain't going into Target. Next up is Dollar.
I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, so I got the facts at Medicare.gov.
Hi, I'm Brett.
And I'm Jonathan.
This is Darla.
And this
General. And questions have been coming to me from around the country and around across social media. Why Dollar General? Because they've been hiding in the cut, not being accountable, and not being responsible. What you may not know is what I didn't know. And that is that Dollar General has 3 times as many stores, hear this, of Target and Walmart combined. 21,000 stores. Most of those stores are in communities of abject poverty or rural areas that have less than 20,000 in population. They are predators because they're getting away by giving cheapened goods at a higher price. They are a contributor to the food desert. I would call them a cactus because they're draining the water of the resources that are left.
And he's right about that. If you think about it, Dollar General is like, when you're driving, you can see a Dollar General anywhere. I've been in rural areas, I've been in cities, and they're starting to pop up even just in the middle of nowhere. You'll just see one, so he's definitely right about the quantity of stores. There's every corner. In fact, where I live, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe I know 5 right off within a 10-mile radius. You know what I'm saying? So he's right about that. Now, as far as the food and everything being more expensive, people think Dollar General is more cheaper. But if you really look at some of the stuff that they sell, like I went in there one time, they were selling like cereal and bread and stuff like that. And they're just as high, maybe even a little bit higher than a regular supermarket. So it just depends on what you're getting. But yeah, so we'll keep on and look at what he's talking about as far as the comparisons.
It is a shame, if not a sin, that Dollar General has not partnered with any black farmers, has minimal black vendors, and in their executive office, only 2% of their leadership is African American. If you looked on their website, you would be deluded and fooled. But every desert has a mirage, and so does Dollar General, because they're giving a mirage as if they are with our community when they are anything but. Last year, 2024, Dollar General amassed a profit of $40 billion. Why Dollar General? Because Dollar General has positioned itself with lobbyists that they will so inundate poor communities so that supermarkets are not able to come in, are not able to compete. 95% of the food that is on the shelves of Dollar General is processed food. Yep. No fresh vegetables, no fruit, and nothing that gives sustenance, but leads to our demise and our decay. And so,
nothing but snacks, nothing but processed foods. He's right. You ain't gonna see bananas and apples and oranges and no veggies. If they are, they're canned, so he's right about that.
So I say without fear of contradiction, Dollar General is not worth a dime. And so this leg of the journey is a little bit different than how we did the Target fast by itself. In rural areas and rural communities, I realize that for many of you, God forbid, it's the only option. And so I am inviting you to join along with me to do an electronic protest. The phone number is here on the screen. Call them and tell them your discontent. Send an email. It's right here on the screen. Write them often, regularly, and daily, and send it to everybody. And I want you to, in fact, use the hashtag of Dollar General on all of your social media platforms so that they know that we are not to be played with and we're not to be ignored. Those of you who are in urban centers and have options and choices, I want you to walk away from Dollar General the exact same way you did from Target and go somewhere else. We're not going to give people our dollars where they don't give us dignity. Most of those who are employed by Dollar General are only employed in part-time positions, and they have been cited over and over again because they do not provide security for those who are working late hours and even in crime-ridden neighborhoods. No security cameras, no police on deck, and so something better has got to happen. I am personally imploring you, asking you, petitioning you, don't spend one dime in Dollar General and keep the bullseye on target.
Oh, okay. So he's saying Dollar General is not They just like everybody else, y'all. Now, see, that's surprising to hear. I mean, understand where he's coming from, and he's right. Where they're located, it's like sometimes you don't have a choice. That's the only place where people can go that's close, especially in very, very poor neighborhoods and rural areas. Some people can't afford to go all other, places. So, but the price point on some of those foods are high. I mean, I've seen some stuff that I was like, wow, this stuff is just as high as this over here, or their generic brand is just as high as the regular brand. And you're thinking like, and it didn't used to be like that, but more and more he's saying that, we've got to invest our money in places that are investing in us. They don't have no leadership. Only 2%, but your consumers are predominantly black, so, but your leadership only shows 2%. So it's like, that's a prime example. There's other options. And remember what I told you, you always put yourself in a position where you have options. Okay. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's spending your money or whatever. Just realize that to better yourself, always go for the best, and the things that you can afford as well. So, but y'all, I just wanted to tackle that tonight because I want y'all to see that there's a lot of other stores that have been hiding, and like he was saying, they're hiding. Okay, I didn't realize that. But now that it's been exposed, let's just see what's going to happen with all of this, okay? Because we want to shed the light. We want to make sure people are informed on all these businesses that are taking our money but don't want to invest in us. Just like Target, they'll take your money, but they don't want you to sell your product. They don't want no black businesses on the shelf, and that's the thing. That's why that graph went just like that. The CEO's income got slashed 40% because of that, because we are a huge contributor. In fact, the African American community is probably one of the biggest spenders in general, no matter what store it is. We typically are the highest consumer. So, but anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight, and I hope y'all enjoyed my show. If y'all enjoyed the content, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you can, please hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any episodes every time I come on to YouTube. Okay? All right. So I will be back on Monday. And Monday, we're going to talk about this thing called black fatigue. And this has been going around for the last, I'm going to say, maybe about a month now. And I've been kind of looking at different people talk about it. And basically, it's just talking about people who are tired. We're going to talk about the black community. We're going to talk about some things that we do that we hurt ourselves on, and things that we can help improve too. Because sometimes it's not about racism. Sometimes it is us. So we're going to take a deep dive on this thing called black fatigue. Let you know what I think about this whole scenario. But that's going to be on 8 p.m. on Monday. All right? Okay. All right, guys. Well, y'all have a great rest of your night. And I will see y'all back on Monday at 8 p.m. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.